Hello. This is the 226th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2225, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. Simon, I have a surprise for you today.
You do. For our listeners, I'm just going to say for our listeners for a sec. Listeners, Dirk and I did not discuss today's episode subject in advance. So
Yes.
when Dirk says it now in the episode for you, you're hearing it the first time, I will also hear it for the first time.
Yes, that's a surprise.
So I could do no preparation.
No preparation.
Yes, you did loads, or you could have done loads.
A little bit. But I try to, because sometimes we put in a lot of research. Because we want to present the most accurate information to our listeners. And sometimes we kind of make things up, or not make things up, but
we speak off the top of our heads, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now I guess it's a bit of both. I did a tiny bit of research, a whole 2 minutes. And you're...
I'll be coming in cold.
Yes. So, topic is space animals.
Okay.
Yes?
I mean, I know where they are, so that's a good start.
I'm judging your reaction. Good, bad.
I'm not sure I have much to say, but...
Well, we seem to gravitate towards space topics occasionally.
We like to talk about things that our listeners don't know about already.
Yeah.
And obviously technological things will be things that they won't have definitely. But then some things, like space animals, totally were around back then.
Yes, they were there.
But we know that they didn't know about them.
No, because we discovered the first ones about 150 years ago, I think.
Right.
And of course, we do venture into space a whole lot more. We started colonizing the nearby planets and the moon. We even left the solar system already. We met some aliens and so on. So there's a whole lots of...
We have the advantage there.
Exactly. And there's a lot of things happening in space. And even because of my work, I have to do with space. So it's on the one side, it's something that dominates our society much more than it did in the 21st century. On the other side, we personally have a little bit more to do with it than the average person.
Yeah. By even the average person nowadays, let alone 200 years ago.
Yeah. So, space animals, simply said, animals that live in space, but originated on Earth, apparently.
The ones in our solar system, at least.
Yeah, definitely. So just like there's life deep down in the deepest sea that for the longest time people didn't know about, or there's tiny little insects in some rainforests on Earth that people keep on discovering still, also in the 23rd century. And then... why not space animals?
One argument would be, well, there's nothing for them to breathe in space. But the trick there is, of course, as we'll discuss, some animals have evolved to not need air.
Exactly. That's the whole idea of evolution. I think the first fish that was like, hey, I'm going to climb on that piece of land and walk over there. All the other fish was going, what?
You're ascribing some, what's the word? Intent there? I don't think there was intent, but for the sake of argument, it's fun. Yeah, exactly. So the other fish were like, what's going on? Yeah,
exactly. Are you nuts? And then it was like, hey, look at me, evolved. And at one point it's like, I'm going to jump off that cliff and I'm not going to fall to my death. I'm going to fly away. And all the other monkeys or crocodiles
animals,
or
I guess.
Whatever you had at the time were going like, no. And then it flew off. And then we had birds.
Sure. So again, for our listeners, we know that this isn't how evolution works, but it sounds fun to talk about it this way. So yes.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever you ask...
So at some point, an animal climbed up really up the tallest mountain, stood right on the top of the mountain and was like, what's up?
Yeah.
Decided to fly up a bit and find out. Got on out there.
Exactly. And did you ever see birds? They can go anywhere they want.
They can fly, yeah.
Exactly. So it's not so crazy to think that they keep on going higher and higher until they can get up there.
Like birds, sort of flight, the way birds fly, depends on the type of bird, but often they'll use hot air current or warm air currents, to glide. So they're not like flapping furiously the whole time, they're gliding for the longest periods of time.
Yep.
So perhaps some birds worked out how to use the gravity of the earth, like a slingshot, go around the earth. Why not? Use the gravity of the earth to propel themselves up out of the atmosphere.
And also the higher you get, the less strong is the gravitational pull.
It's true.
So the higher you get, the easier it is to get even higher.
Potentially, with momentum, with enough momentum. I mean, there's also the air gets thinner. So, like a bird that flaps its wings to fly, there would be less air for it to push against. So that's why I was imagining some kind of slingshot.
But it would also have less resistance than...
Yeah, no, of course.
Interesting.
So anyway, how it happened, we don't know, because this happened, millions, hundreds of millions of years ago.
That's the whole thing with evolution, yeah.
Exactly, it happened a while ago, but we can talk about the space animals we know about.
Yes, exactly, because once we found the first kind, then this kind of opened up our eyes, like, there's animals out here. Yeah. So you didn't prepare.
I did not prepare, no, but you'd like to talk about something like this.
Exactly, so I thought, like, I'm sure you can remember like dozens of space animals, but how about you just mention the most exciting ones or the ones that come to mind, or when you think about space animals, which animals do you think about?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Shall I go first?
Yes.
Okay, I do at least have one coming straight to mind, which is nice. So dark wraiths.
Yes.
Those are maybe the prototypical space animal. Like, if someone 200 years ago was told, yep, there are animals in space, what do you reckon they look like? Okay, maybe they'd think of this. So it looks like, what would the animal be? A manta ray. It looks like a manta ray. Yeah. And they're like black on the top. Which way are they? Yeah, they're black on the top, white on the bottom. Because in the ocean, from above, they want to look dark against yeah, that's right. And then from looking from below, they want to look light. Yeah. Okay. But dark wraiths are dark on all the sides because they're up in space, and wherever they're seen from, they want to blend into the night sky.
Which also
makes them really hard to spot.
Exactly, which also kind of explains why humanity has overlooked them. I mean, first, for the longest time, we weren't up there. And then for the longest time, we were just up there a little bit. And only when we started being up there a whole lot, then we started bumping into them. And then...
And then, I mean, they're relatively... So they're big compared to a cat. Yeah. But compared to interplanetary bodies, they're still pretty small. Yeah. So that's why, people didn't spot them on their telescopes. Yeah, exactly. And they move slowly, and they're black against black. And also, that's like they depends on your state of mind. They can be a bit scary. Yeah, when you don't, even if you know what they are. Yeah, like the imagery. Yeah, the way they look. Also, like because they're slowly moving, you don't really hear or see them coming. I mean, it's until in space, so you don't hear anything anyway. True. So you don't hear anything with your ears. Yeah. And definitely one of the things that made them a little bit more eerie is that astronauts who first, encountered them, they knew they couldn't hear anything with their ears, of course. But some of them described as if there was something calling in their minds. Oh, yeah? Yeah, which is creepy because that's a little bit, well, at least when you don't know what's going on. Yeah. Okay. Now we understand. No, it's no problem. It's just how they communicate with each other, and humans can kind of pick up on that a little bit. Okay, but still, first time you're an astronaut, you're out in space, you're doing whatever you're doing, and then you turn around and you see this dark shape moving across the surface of something, and you feel this thing in your mind. It's a little bit scary. They're totally peaceful. They're totally cool. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they do have shades. So the thing is, if they move close by to your spacecraft and the sun is shining, then they'll cast a shadow. They cast a shadow. Yeah, exactly. So and themselves, you don't really see them so often, but the shadow you see. Yeah. And that's the thing which humans, mammals in general, have baked into them, to be scared of a shadow falling over them. Yeah. Like if you're walking along them. Yeah, so I know, but you mentioned that you don't hear anything in space. I think there's one space animal. Yeah. So I was just going to say, so usually you don't because there isn't air in space and sound needs air to travel through. Okay, but then do you want to say your animal next? Or is this something else? It's a different animal. Because I picked specifically one that I wanted to point out because it's my favorite space animal. Definitely needs to be here. It's the Mars Harrier. So it's a bird of prey. I guess it feeds on maybe some of the other animals that we will mention. But this is an evolution of a similar bird of prey on Earth that kept flying higher and higher and faster until it apparently crossed the busted on out through the atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere. That's the word I was looking for. I managed to somehow survive out there, and it's super fast. And it's, the Harriers on Earth are one of the fastest birds there are.
Yeah,
and the ones in space are even faster.
That's maybe very interesting for our listeners, because the way the dark wraiths move through space, they basically work like solar sails. That's how they move. But Mars Harriers don't do that yet. Like, how are they moving through space, especially so quickly? Because the dark wraiths are very slow.
Because there's little resistance in space, you don't need so much energy. But they evolved from an Earth animal that could produce efficiently a whole lot of energy. They maintained most of that, which makes them go way faster in space. That's the idea behind it. Okay. And they're called Mars Harriers because they not because they live on Mars but they whenever Mars is close by, you see them a whole lot more.
Okay.
So it's like initially it was like they came from Mars, but that's not the case. Apparently, if Mars is close by, they kind of seem to gather more closer to Earth, or
like to flock.
Yeah, exactly.
Like to flock together. Yeah.
So that's why they're called Mars Harriers, because they're that's why.
And so wait, and those were one of the animals. They were the animal that makes noise in space.
No,
that's something still to come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So any other animals?
I'm not. So yes. So my next one, the Spaceback Whale. Like a distant relative of the humpback whale, but okay. And I mean, later on, humans started being a bit more creative with the names. Early on, it was like, let's stick the word space in there, So, okay, Spaceback Whale.
That's the one I mentioned. Doesn't that make a sound somehow?
Not through, like I say, there isn't air to make sound through. It does do something almost similar to the dark wraiths, where you hear it in your mind. Except people don't hear it at all, but there's equipment that you can use.
Okay, yeah, then this is what I meant. Okay.
Sure. Sure, these creatures need to communicate, yeah?
Yeah.
And they do so in different ways, since there isn't air, or in the case of Spaceback Whales, there isn't water to send it through.
Okay.
That's a bit of a more mysterious... Like, I do also wonder. So the dark wraiths, the Mars Harriers, the way they move, the way they look, you can kind of imagine maybe how they got into space. The Spaceback Whales is like, how did they even get up there? They're way bigger. The shape doesn't really lend itself to that. So that's a subject for another day. Maybe they had alien help, who can say. But either way, they're up there now. Yeah, but
that's also the thing with the dark wraiths. It's, okay, you understand why we never picked up on these guys, because they're black on black and move slowly. And then, sure, we didn't know about space animals. Look at the dark wraith. Yeah, sure, look at the Spaceback Whale. How can we have overseen this one?
Yeah. So those live further away. So the dark wraiths, they come in close to the Earth itself, yeah? Spaceback whales, you won't find any closer to the sun. Yeah. So meaning they're further out. The closest ones to the sun are in the orbit of Jupiter and further out. So that's why.
And they are rumored that they can go into deep space, right?
We've not... it's not yet been observed.
Yeah.
But they seem like they'd be able to. And
also they disappear for the longest time and then reappear.
Decades. Yeah.
Okay, so...
and just one thing. So regular humpback whales will eat krill. Teeny tiny, plankton, basically, stuff like that. Little shrimp, not shrimp exactly, but either way, little creatures, microscopic creatures. In space, there's none of that stuff. What do they eat? Space krill.
Space krill.
Space krill. Tiny little creatures in space. They're super tiny, you don't really see them. There's enough of them out there for the Spaceback whales to hoover on up.
See, that makes sense. I never thought about what Spaceback whales could eat, but it makes total sense. See, maybe that's how they got into space. They just chased the krill.
Krill, with a K. Yeah.
Krill, sure.
Yeah. Could be, yeah.
Okay. Nice. So another one, it's also a bird. It's the Kærhøg. It was first discovered by a Danish astronaut and named it after a bird species from his home country. It's been debated a lot if it's a different species than the Mars Harrier or not. I mean,
are there noticeable differences between the two?
Yeah, the Mars Kærhøg, this has a little Danish flag on its back.
I see. Yeah, that definitely is a difference.
Yeah. So, but that's apparently one of the very few differences. And space animals are a little harder to catch, so it's not like...
Yeah, they have a much larger habitat in which to live.
And they're, exactly, so they're a little harder to catch also in space, also by humans and so on. So it's a little harder to determine all the different aspects that an animal has. Yeah. Yeah, two of my favorite birds. Any other ones that come to your mind? I at least have one that I want to point out later, but I was thinking.
Yeah, so I do have one more that comes easily to mind. Hopefully you won't ask me for more. The vacuum bear.
The vacuum bear.
The vacuum bear. So
I've heard the name, but I have to say I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, so it's a bit similar to the Spaceback Whale, where people were like, hey, this looks pretty much like one on Earth, but it's in space, or in the vacuum of space, so let's call it a vacuum bear. But it's not a bear like a polar bear, or a brown bear, or something like that. Or, or a panda bear. No, it's like a water bear. Those teeny tiny little creatures. Tardigrades.
Tardigrades, yeah,
exactly.
Sure. So how is it different from a tardigrade?
Lives in the vacuum of space.
Okay, like by default.
By default. Tardigrades, people reckon they can live in the vacuum of space, but these ones have been observed doing legit.
Can they survive in the atmosphere of Earth?
That's a good question. I don't know personally. Off the top of my head, I'd need to look it up.
I'm just thinking, if a space animal dies, what happens to it?
I think it gets eaten by other space animals.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay. Question answered.
Like the Spaceback Whale is going around hoovering stuff up. Hoovering up the vacuum bear.
Ooh.
Well, not just one, but
I know if a whale dies and it washes up on shore,
much bigger. Yeah.
On Earth, you need to stay away from it because at one point it explodes.
Oh, wow.
Whales explode. So what happens with a Spaceback Whale is it's like a floating time bomb, or does it maybe go down to the Earth atmosphere and
burns up in the atmosphere.
Some of the
shooting stars.
Shooting stars are actually Spaceback Whales.
I mean, so it wouldn't be the Spaceback Whale since they're, like I said, way out beyond the orbit of Jupiter.
True. Yeah. Okay.
But some of the other ones, perhaps, that's what they are, the shooting stars we see. So sure, so what happens in general, I presume they are drawn in by whatever the closest gravity
fair enough.
thing with the largest gravity is. So in that case, maybe Jupiter, maybe Saturn, something like that. Maybe they just end up being tiny little moons orbiting around stuff.
So I wasn't kind of.
You've done two birds so far. You got a third one?
No, not a bird. I'm now unsure about two animals. Which one I'm going to pick as my last animal? Because there's also animals living in the space debris. You know how we've been cleaning up most of the space debris. We have left some
like natural habitat. Well,
yeah, some chunks of space debris we left intact because animals started living there. Space animals like space rats and so on. So to protect their habitats. No, the last animal I want to point out is the white weevil. You know a weevil?
Tiny insects?
Yeah, it's kind of like a beetle with a long nose.
Okay, yeah.
Usually black, different shades of black, little touches of yellow. So the white weevil...
They live in biscuits on ships, is what I remember from old stories when I was a kid. Is that weevils or is that something else?
I guess. I mean, they're pretty fun to look at, so I wouldn't mind, I guess, not having been on a ship for a while.
Sure.
But the white weevils, they're white, which is kind of the opposite of the dark wraiths,
right?
Because you can very well see them in space, and they move around in flocks or herds swarms.
But how? So are they roughly the same size as weevils on Earth, or are they much larger?
No, they're also tiny.
Okay.
So it's you sometimes notice them because they go around in swarms. They suddenly all of them land on something. So it's like blah, 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 and then it's full of white weevils.
Covered in them.
Yeah, exactly. So they're kind of cute looking when they walk around, and they have this very long, thin noses sticking out of them.
Yeah.
They go from meteorite to meteorite. Yeah, that's kind of all I know about white weevils. That's what I spent my whole 2 minutes on.
Okay, that one especially.
Yeah, the other two I knew already.
Yeah. Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, our listeners, I think, knew about none of these.
Yeah,
So we don't want to overload. We don't want to overload them.
Yeah, 6.5 if you count the non-mentioned space junk animals.
Sure.
Hinted at.
Like the ones that the Spaceback Whale munches up on.
Well, krill, exactly 7.
Space krill.
7 plus an unidentified species.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Space animals. So that was it for nature. Unless you have any closing comments to this surprise topic of the week.
No, I think it's good for now.
Okay. Shall we repeat this format?
In the specifically about space animals?
No, about keeping the topic a secret. Either you for me or the other way around.
Yeah, no, maybe not every week, but that's a nice idea. Could do that in the future. Exactly. Sometimes I'll surprise you. Sometimes you'll surprise me.
Yeah, and it could be like, oh, I don't know anything about it, and it's kind of like a monologue from the other person.
Right. Or maybe we both don't know anything. That would be a bit silly, yeah? Like if I'm making one up, I should probably pick one that I at least know something about.
Oh, that would just be fun. You hoping I know anything about it, I don't, and then we are just staring at each other for 20 minutes and then do listener questions.
Should we do listener questions?
Yes.
So we have an email, I think. Yeah, so we've heard from iPod Irene before, and she sent us another email. And she wrote, "Hey guys, Irene here. Just checking in to plug your Spotify playlist. I created one and added all the songs that you use during all your episodes. You probably can't listen to it in the 21st century, but the listeners can in the 21st. Enjoy." Very kind of you, iPod Irene.
Yes.
Do you know what Spotify is?
No.
No, I don't know what Spotify is, but that's okay. Like she mentioned, 200 years ago, I'm sure everyone knows what that is.
Yeah.
And so if they go to Spotify, they are able to listen to the songs that have featured in our episodes.
And I'm sure they can, what did they tell us to say? Like, subscribe, and something else.
That doesn't sound like anything anyone would ever say, no. But maybe they can look in the show notes and maybe there'll be a link that they can tap.
Yeah, potentially. And there's something to do with music. Music is always cool.
Yeah, exactly. Spotify, no, the name doesn't ring a bell though.
Doesn't sound like it has something to do with music.
Doesn't really, does it? Okay. Anyways, thank you very much, Irene. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
Listeners to Test from the Future, please send us an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com. Put the episode number 226 in the subject line, and in your email, feel free to ask us about more space animals.
And for now, thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.